Hey, I'm Bree. This is the 6 Hearts on 6 Acres Kitchen, and we have almost 19 pounds of squash and zucchini to get preserved today. Remember that burden of abundance that we were praying for as we walked through our garden? It has for sure arrived. Today we are going to be making one of my favorite ways. I'm going to set this down because it's heavy. One of my favorite ways to preserve all of the squash and zucchini is to make a sweet relish. We have eaten so much of this fresh. We are continuing to eat it as my garden has just been pouring it out this year. But I make a really delicious relish with this that is so good on any type of meat, hot dogs, egg salad, tuna salad. Really just we eat it alongside a lot of our meals. I haven't made this since 2014, which is one of my first years of having a garden, and I didn't realize that I didn't need to plant the entire packet of zucchini seeds. And so I had, you can imagine, a ridiculous amount of zucchini. But this year, I will admit I have 12 plants, but I know how to use it now. I'm not a newbie anymore. I know how to eat what I grow, which is an important skill when you have a big garden. And then when I have too much of it that I can't eat fresh, I know how to preserve it. And so I'm going to teach you today how to deal with your overabundance of squash and zucchini. You can do this with any variety of squash and zucchini. You can see here I have a huge mixture of varieties. It even works really well with your huge overgrown baseball bat-sized zucchini as long as you scoop out the huge seeds out of there. Most of these are decent size. I try and pick them when they're pretty young to make sure that my plant keeps producing, but let's get to work. The first thing we're going to do is give all of these just a rough chop, and then I throw them in. Well, you can't even see it over there because I have green beans going as well. Hopefully you can hear me. But I do a rough chop, and then I throw these in my food processor to let it do most of the work. I'm going to show you what varieties I'm growing really quick. I have a white patty pan. This is Zephyr. It's partial green, partial yellow. I think this is butter stick. Gosh, now I can't remember. Early prolific straight. Rugosa friulana. This one is like bumpy textured. It's really pretty. These are both Genovese. This is a Y-Star. This is a golden egg. And a golden glory zucchini. So we are just going to get to work chopping off the tops and the bottoms. I have a scrap bowl always. And then I'm just going to do a really rough chop on these so I can throw them into my food processor. These squash and zucchini aren't big yet. But if yours are, just make sure and take out the seeds before you put them in here. All right, my bowl is full, so I am going to run these through the food processor really quick and chop them up into very small bits. Alright, this recipe calls for 10 cups of shredded squash and zucchini. I'm going to try and double it. I have 2 full bowls, so I'm going to see where I'm at. Now, squash and zucchini, also, I lost my 1 cup measuring cup, so we are doing halves. Squash and zucchini hold a lot of water in them, and so we are going to put our squash and zucchini in a clean towel and just squeeze all the extra water out. So there's 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, 4 cups, 5 cups. So let's squeeze all the water out of this. And then I'm going to put this 5 cups of zucchini straight into our stock pot where we're going to be cooking the relish. I underestimated how much squash and zucchini it takes to make 20 cups. So the amount that I just had, those 2 huge heaping bowls, was just barely over 10 cups of squash and zucchini, which is perfect for 1 single recipe. So I am not going to double. So I have those 10 cups in this tall stock pot, and I'm going to start cutting up my onions and my bell peppers now. I am doing the very same thing, just a rough chop. Unfortunately, my garden is loaded with bell peppers, but they are not colorful yet. They are just green bell peppers at this point. And once they get this stage of ripeness where they turn colors, they're so much sweeter. So we are going with store-bought. We're going to use 2 yellows and 2 reds. I'm going to give these a quick rinse. And then just give them a rough chop, and I'll run them through the food processor. forgot to hit record, but I just chopped up 2 of the onions that we harvested this week and threw those in. Next, we're gonna go in with 5 tablespoons of salt. I like to use pink Himalayan. You can use whatever you prefer. Go ahead and get my heat on. Next, I need a teaspoon each of black pepper, turmeric, celery seed, and mustard seed. Next is 3 cups of sugar. And then 3 cups. The recipe actually calls for apple cider vinegar. I am not a huge fan of apple cider vinegar, so I'm just going to go in with a regular white vinegar. 3 cups of that. That is all. You're going to bring this to a boil and then let it cook for 30 minutes. Okay, sometimes trying to film and cook at the same time can be very chaotic. I just went to stir that and I realized I only rough chopped my onions. I didn't process them. So I'm going to pull them out of here really quick and stick them in the food processor. You do want to have tiny chopped onions. Let's try this again. All right, that timer is going off, so we are going to pull this off the heat. And we are going to get our jars filled. Now, while I'm filling those jars, I am going to get my water bath canner filled and heating up so that they will be ready to go straight into here. Remember, you want to match temperatures when you're canning, so hot jars of relish are going to go into a hot canner of water. I also have my second batch of green beans going. We are definitely multitasking in the kitchen today. I am looking for something to make sure these jars are debubbled, and look what I found. This is what happens when your kids unload the dishwasher. This was shoved to the very back of my drawer. these jars are just a little bit too full, and some of them have a little bit of room for some more, so I'm just going to even them out. I'm going to wipe the rim of these really well with a wet cloth. That just ensures that there is nothing in the way of the wax on my wings to make sure that we get a good seal. Sorry it's so loud in here today. That pressure canner is not quiet. I filled my 10 pints and I still had 20 left, so I went and grabbed some half pints from my basement and got them washed up really well. Half pints make a great size for gifts, and relish is a really great gift to give, especially this time of the year when it's hot dog season. Alright, those are in the water bath container, and they're going to process for 15 minutes at boiling with about an inch of water over the tops of the jars. Once those are done, I'm going to put these half-pint ones in there for the same amount of time. Thanks so much for hanging out with me again in my kitchen. We finished all of this relish. We got 10 pints and 5 half pints. They are all cooled. Every single one of them sealed. They are delicious. I snuck a spoonful before I got all of them filled to the jars. And I can't wait to have them on a hot dog this 4th of July. If you have squash and zucchini coming out of your ears, or even if you don't, it's so cheap at the farmer's market right now. Pick some up and give this a try. If you are a new canner, this recipe is so easy. Water bath canning is the way to go if you're new. So I hope that you try it out. I hope you have a great week of the 4th. Spend time with family and friends. I know I will be. Until I see you again, may God bless.